I think we had to go down this space first, but I don't quite remember.
If you and your friends enter such a cave where only a short way out is saved, and there may be lack of oxygen and darkness, so what will be your reaction on this occasion? So there is such a tragic story of some friends. One evening on August 17th, 2005, 5 friends together did a discus at that time. When a girl named Jennifer was telling her friends about her first experience of going to cave in, which he told how he crossed a cave through very cold water and escaped from there. And he also named this cave as the Cave of Death. During the same discussion, she was convincing her friends to go inside the cave. Now she was giving them this shorty too, that they can all hold their breath and reach 15 feet down into a secret cave. And to go into that field, Black Donor Scott, Ariel Singer, all these people get ready. And on the other side is his friend Joship, who decides that he would go and wait for them while grinding on the mountaintop, where they have to return from the other side of the cave. But crossing the queue was not so easy. They had to cross this cave with very deep water below and a height of only 4 feet on the rocks above. And as soon as they entered the entry point, they were going to see the hole by going 100 feet ahead, through which they could enter the underwater cave. All the people who crossed this cave said that crossing this 100 feet path is very easy. The difficulty comes when you enter the underwater cave through a small hole. And the size of this hole was 1824, which was completely filled with water. Down to the bottom, and all the people who had gone inside before had said that it was going to be very dark as soon as they entered this hole. And because of the water, it is very difficult to breathe. But still, these 4 friends agree to go inside this hole. And on that day, these 4 people reach the entrance of the cave at 4 o'clock in the morning and enter inside. And of the 4, only one had the tube light with which he could see ahead. And somehow these 4 people, working hard, even crossed the 100 feet path. And finally, they reach the same hole from where they have to enter the underwater cave. All the friends start fighting with each other to see who will go down first. Everyone was afraid to see the water. No one dared to go down. Then suddenly Jennifer comes forward because he has crossed cave before. So she first enters the hole underwater, and the 3 friends sitting above were watching this thing. How Jennifer's head and hands are submerged in water. And the size of this hole was 2 feet in width and 4 feet in length. And Ariel jumps right behind Jennifer and starts swimming in the direction Jennifer was pointing. And in the same cave, the earlier divers had also fixed a rope, the root of which began at a small hole, and it was down to the end of the tunnel. And with the help of this route, it could be detected. From where they have started, where can the ending point of the tunnel be? It was also the most difficult thing that if any swimmer left the route, it would be very dangerous to reach the bottom of the tunnel, because the dirt and debris lying on the floor with swimming heels can also come up in the water, which could have made it more difficult to see. And here the same thing had happened before with a person named Bran, who had entered this cave. And at the top, Time Brain let go of the rope and floated to the wrong side, reached the dead end of the queue where the game would have ended. And there was no way forward. Still, he had expert friends with him who saved his life, but our 4 swimmers were not so lucky. Almost an hour later, at 5 o'clock in the morning, these people cross the tunnel and enter through a small entrance and reach the secret cave. As soon as he reached this secret cave, he felt that the water was reaching his chest, and up to a height of about 6 feet was this cave, after which they were getting oxygen up to 3 feet above the water. And in this queue, about 8 people could stop at a time. And Joshop at the end of the queue was still waiting for his friends to come back. He knew that crossing this cave was a very difficult task, so it will take time for them to come up. Due to the lack of clear planning to enter the cave, these people were panicked inside and were also finding it very difficult to breathe, because it was becoming very difficult for 4 people to move in this small cave. Since the entrance of the secret cave was not big, there was a lot of lack of oxygen here, and the amount of nitrogen in this queue was more than 79%. And after these four came here, the amount of carbon dioxide was also increasing. Soon the four decide that if it stays here much longer, it will die. So these guys quickly decide that they're going to go to the exit pole now and get out of the tunnel. But there was only a short way to the tunnel through the secret cave, because of which only one person at a time could reach the top exit pole. So first, Jennifer decides she will go first, and the rest will find a way for all three. As she exits the secret cave and enters the tunnel, her body is already low on oxygen. And after surviving for about a minute, Jennifer stops breathing and dies because the rope was lost from his hand, and he also lost the way. And because it was so dark, nothing could be seen. And that's where his mother-in-law stops. After a full 45 minutes, Josh decides to go down to the cave and find his friends. And upon reaching the entrance of the tunnel, nothing was visible to him. No tube light was visible, and panicked, he calls his friends who have had this experience before. He then called the police at 6:25 a.m., but on the other side, Ariel and the other two friends were still struggling to breathe in the queue. They still don't know that Jennifer has died upstairs, and after taking a deep breath, Ariel decides to go upstairs. Then he crosses the same small passage and enters the tunnel, and when he reaches the top, he panics and sees that his friend Jennifer has passed away from this world. His body shakes a little and he panics because the passage of the tunnel was so small, two people could not pass through it at a time, and Jennifer's body had already blocked this way. And behind him, the rest of his friends who were trying to climb up also get stuck at the start of the cave because dead bodies above already blocked that way. After that, the rescue team reaches there and works to pump out the water. And on the other side, oxygen is also sent in the same way that someone will escape from this oxygen. And after pumping out the entire 2 feet of water, they enter the tunnel. And it had been almost 4 hours since the call to the police. When they find the first body inside the cave, it turns out to be their veteran friend Jennifer hours later, and working hard. The trio and dead buddies Blake, Scott, and Ariel are also found there in the tunnel. At the same time, it was clear that Jennifer's body had blocked the way of the tunnel, due to which the other three did not return from there, and the bodies of 2 of the remaining 3 were found floating in the water, and a body was lying on the floor below. You saw how these 4 people who lost their lives in the adventure. After this, the government ordered these tunnels to be closed and a memorial was built on top. I think today's video has added a lot to your knowledge.